there, Linda Goodall here with Linda G Embroidery. In this video, I'll show you how to use alternate character sets to create fonts that are more decorative and more interesting in Embrilliance. If you have EmbroideryWorks, this works exactly the same way. For some time now, I've been using the Samantha font to add text to various designs, but I've only really recently released it as a BX font. And the reason for that delay is that this has multiple character sets. So here's the normal one, and then we have 4 alternates. And as you might guess, these aren't all in one font style. You have to have a separate font for each one, and I have 4 sizes of each one. So if you put all of these on your font menu in Embrilliance, you actually have 20 separate fonts. And so it was a little confusing and a little hard to manage, and I'm just now getting around to releasing a video on how to do it. The actual original OTF font had even more characters, but I've chosen to digitize only those with all the characters. So you'll notice that in normal I have full upper and lowercase numbers and punctuation. Alternate 1 has upper, lowercase, and numbers, and the other alternates have just the upper and lowercase letters. So they are combined as sets with the 5 styles in one size. So you can pick your size, but each size is going to have all these different sets, all these different alternates. And in Embrilliance, and most likely every embroidery app, when you create a block of text, it can only contain characters from one alphabet. So if you look at Samantha up there, different letters came from different ones of these sets, and I've had to combine them individually, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do here. We can't do any sort of control option click a letter. We can only do standard keyboard characters that you would get with the shift key or lowercase letters. It gets kind of complicated, but it doesn't have to be impossible, and I'll show you a few tricks that I use. It does mean it's going to take a little longer to type your text because you're not just typing, you're really designing. But first, before we get to that part, let me show you a few examples. So on Love to Sew, this is the Samantha font. I've replaced the O in love with a calligraphic heart, and it just made it a little bit more fun. On this one, Samantha font is just used for the word the, and I've put it on a little upward slant there. This next word, oh whale, I've nested my words, so they're not on 2 separate lines, they're kind of nested into each other. And you notice that I did that on Love to Sew as well. And on this one, Take Time to Coast. Take is in Samantha, and then I used a couple of other fonts for the other words. But notice how the A kind of drops down into the V of the M. So you can do fun things like this with fonts. So let's go to Embrilliance and see how to do that. So here I am in Embrilliance. It's Thanksgiving weekend, so I'm kind of in a holiday kind of mood. And I've got 2 examples here. One is Merry Christmas, the other one is Happy Holidays. I know some of you will get kind of funny about what people say to you, but there are quite a few holidays between mid-November and mid-January, and Happy Holidays covers all those bases. Plus, my birthday's in there too, so that's a holiday. So we're going to look at how to create the word Merry in here, but first let's take a look at these letters. If we look at Merry, see how I have 2 R's and I've used 2 different styles of R there. Whereas down here in Happy, I have 2 P's, but I've used the exact same P's. Why'd I do that? Well, I just liked how it looked. On the M and the C, I've used 1 size larger than I used for the lowercase letters. And on Happy Holidays, I went up 2 sizes so that I could get 1 H for both of those words. And I've just picked and chosen different letters for different areas. And you just play around and have some fun. Now, obviously can't just type these out, because if you look over here on the Objects pane, you can see that I have the letter M by itself, and then I have an ER, and then I have an RY, and all of these different ones until we get down to Happy. And I actually have the letters for, well, the appy part anyway, are all from one font. But these other ones are from different ones. And if I look at them, I'll see that this one is Samantha alternate 4. This one is Samantha alternate 3. So they're different characters from different fonts. And I've chosen the smallest one for my lowercase letters, and then I've gone up to the other sizes. So 15 millimeters is about 5/8 of an inch. 25 millimeters is about 1 inch. Then we have 2 inches and 3 inches. And when we're measuring those, we're measuring from the baseline to the cap height. Now the cap height would be a normal cap height. Some of these have extenders that go way, or ascenders that go way out. So it's kind of funky measuring these letters. So let's look at my working file for Merry Christmas. Here's what I was actually using to create the word Merry and Christmas. And what I do is I type out what I want it to say all as one phrase. So I have one block of text that has all of my letters in it. And this is Samantha Normal. And then I just copy that line. So I'll copy, paste, and then drag it out somewhere else. And then I'll set it to the next font, which would be alternate 1. And click set. And you can see that that's not very readable. But that's what I've done each of the way down here. Copy paste, alternate 1, alternate 2, alternate 3, and alternate 4. And you can see they get highly unreadable with all those flourishes. So you're going to have to decide where you want your flourishes, how fancy you want your word, how decorative do you want it, and still have it be readable. So that's the whole goal there. So let's recreate the word Merry. And what I could do is just go up here, select the type tool, type in an M, click set, and work that way. But usually what I do, in fact what I do almost all the time, is I'll find the M that I want to use, and I like this one. So I'm just going to copy and paste that entire line, and then I'm going to get rid of everything. I think I like that E. So I'm going to keep the E, and I'll click set, and there it is. So let's move it up here out of the way. So we have our first 2 letters there. And now let's find an R we like. And I think probably one of these R's. Copy, paste, set, move. I'll kind of put it in there. I don't know that I like that R with that E, but we'll go with it for now. And let's use one of these R's. Copy, paste, R, set. You know, I might like that other R better first. So let's see if we like this R better here. Maybe, maybe not. We'll play with that. And I really like this Y, so I'm going to go back here and copy this again. Copy, paste. Maybe I like that R too. That's kind of a cool R. Let's get rid of that R. And we'll move that in there. Let's zoom up so we can kind of see what we're doing. You know, do I like that? I don't know. Maybe. Sometimes I'll have to sew it out and see how I like it. I think I want this M to be bigger. So that means that I'm going to have to copy and paste that. Copy, paste. Because click set. We'll have to change this to just an E. Move that in there. And we'll pick a different size here. So that's alternate 4. We'll go up alternate 4 to 25 millimeters and see how that works. Move that in there. You can also use your keyboard arrows to move things. That's what I'm doing here. That's looking pretty good. Now we need to do some alignment, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, and I'm going to drag down a ruler line. And some of these letters are pretty funky, so you might not even notice that they're off. But if we look at these letters, see how all of the letters have a curve on the bottom except the R. The R goes straight across. And if we put this right down here on this line and expect it to stitch out so that it's even with that, it's not going to happen. Because those horizontal lines are going to push downward, and these vertical lines, where the vertical stitches, are going to pull in. So we really want to have this sitting almost maybe 2 stitches or so, 2 stitches worth above the line. And we'll test sew it because it'll depend on our fabric, our stabilizer, our hooping, and all that other stuff to see if it really stitches out perfectly. That's how we do that. Now let's move this to another document. So a copy, new, paste. And what I want to do is make sure that it stitches in the right order. And if we look over here, we can see that it goes E, R, R, Y, and then the M. So I want to move the M to the beginning. And that's real easy. I just right click on it, and I'm going to click on move first. And there we have it in order. Now let's suppose that we want to make this R a different color. Let's make the whole word a different color. I'm going to make it Christmas red, which in Hemingworth is 1270. And let's, just for the fun of it, make this R a different color. And let's try a gold. See what comes up with gold. Marigold, well, that'll work. So there we have that in the middle. Now notice over here that we now have that gold letter right there in the middle. So it's going to stitch red, then it's going to stitch gold, and then it's going to stitch red. Notice too that I didn't have to change it to a different font. So if all you're doing is changing colors, you don't have to do a different font. This little letter block here is 2 letters that are the same block. I can change one of them to green. See if we can get a, well, that's not a very pretty green. We'll pick this green. And I didn't have to make a different character set for that. So that's a fun thing to know. Also, if you wanted to move just an individual letter, if you click on it and click on its little box, you can start moving around little individual letters. If you want to squish some letters up together, you can move them closer that way. Oops, lots of line spacing. We want the spacing. So we can move them closer or farther apart that way. So you can do a lot of things with the fonts in Embrilliance. Having keyboard fonts, even though we didn't really use it exactly as a keyboard font here, we've kind of picked and chosen and merged our letters around. It's so much easier when you can have a keyboard font to work with. And there's so many great BX fonts out there. It's just, I don't know why anyone wouldn't use Embrilliance or even Embrilliance Express. I mean, for Pete's sake, it's free. Go download it. So that's how you can use multiple fonts in one word and combine them and get fun stuff like this. I hope you'll give it a try and see what you come up with. Thanks for watching.